Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kathy. I wanted to do a short video on all parents aren't good. So there are good parents, there's bad parents. Maybe you had one good one bad one. Maybe both of your parents were incredible. Maybe both were awful. And I'm sorry people had to go through really bad situations. I've heard of things and there's stories on the news, or you just hear of things that happen to kids and it's unbelievable. But then there's incredible parents that are just, my gosh, they are the top of the top. And, it's just wonderful to see that in their kids and even their adult children, as they grow up. They're just so fortunate and blessed to have two wonderful parents. And I have friends like that. And some of their parents aren't still alive. Some of them are. And you can just see if they've already passed, just how devastating it is and what a loss it is for the kids. But then on the flip side, sometimes there are bad parents. Sometimes they're both really bad. And I know people like that. Like one of the pastors, he was like an assistant pastor at a church we used to go to. He might be 30 now. And I think his mom I can't remember if it was meth. And then his dad, a meth addict, and then his dad might have been a heroin addict or something. They were both into really bad things, and just all these things happened in his childhood. But by God's grace, he made it out of there and now has a wife and a family. And he talks about it. He's talked about it several times. And you feel so bad, and it's unbelievable that, oh my gosh, or at least to me it is. I can say I had one good parent and one not so good parent. So my mom, and they're both gone now, my mom was probably one of the best in the world. And I know other people will say, well, my mom's the best in the world, but so one of them. And I mean, she wasn't perfect, but she was absolutely incredible. And then my dad, on the other side, was not nice. And I spent about 18 years until right after I graduated high school and moved out, just tiptoeing around him, walking on eggshells. He would just explode. He had anger issues, and he wouldn't be extremely violent. A couple times I can remember he might throw something or break something. I mean, he broke, a couple things of mine. So, and I'm just thinking of some other things. I don't think he ever put his hands on my mom or anything like that. We got lots of spankings, and I'm not against that as far as child raising. But sometimes when, you're getting in trouble for something your sibling did, I can definitely attest to that. So yeah, he just wasn't nice. He wasn't friendly. He would say just mean, uncaring things. And he was a member, he was in the community. So everyone knew who he was, and he worked at the school district, which was in a very small town. And so everyone knew, who I was, who he was. And I mean, he would make fun of even my classmates in class. And he that's just one example. But yeah, he liked to embarrass people and just not nice. And, but anyways, so I can say, one good one not so good one. And I can't imagine, I really can't wrap my head around someone who has two awesome parents, just because my brain wasn't formed that way. Like my dad was just yuck. And so I have some friends that are extremely close to their dads, and they are just incredible fathers. And one of my friends, one of my high school good friends, her dad was like a second dad to me, and he just passed like last month, and that was really hard. But super nice, caring, loving guy. And yeah, I've known him for decades and decades. And a couple other friends of mine, you know, their dads were always nice and caring and all that. But yeah, it's really hard for me to just wrap my head around, wow, you really had two incredible parents, like especially a dad. And that might sound weird, but like I said, that wasn't how I was raised. And I can't even, you know, people, friends of mine will post things like, oh, it's been a year, you know, since my dad left us, you know, passed away. And oh, it's just so hard. I miss him so much every single day. And I feel for them. And it's like, gosh, but I have to put in, okay, they must feel about their dad like I did about my mom. Because, I mean, when my dad passed over 25 years ago, I was in my late 20s, and I mean, we didn't have a relationship and all that stuff. And it was actually a blessing in disguise for both my mom, who was a caretaker for him, and then for me, you know, just, it was just a bad situation. And yeah, so God took him out of the picture. And yeah, things, you know, other things happened. You know, my mom got remarried and moved to a different area, and this, that, and the other, you know, just how life is. Things happen and change. And yeah, so yeah, let me know, like, do you guys, can you relate at all to having two incredible parents, or maybe not incredible, but just really nice and loving and not awful? And or can you say that you're in the same boat as me with maybe one great one and one not great one, or maybe two awful ones? Which, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. You know, at least I had, you know, my mom, who was, you know, a great example and a Christian. And yeah, like I said, one of the best humans that have walked the earth. But yeah, so I just wanted to do a quick video. Hopefully that makes sense. I saw something pop up that said, you know, one bad parent, one good parent, or, you know, not all parents are good. And it just got me thinking. And I was kind of thinking in the back of my head, this would be a topic for me anyways, just to say, you know, that, yeah, it's so hard for me to even think. I really struggle with, yeah, processing if someone's like, oh my gosh, my dad, I was so close to. Like, really? Wow. I mean, that's great. I mean, I'm so happy for anyone who can say that. But then I have friends who, you know, I was really close to my mom, and they weren't at all. Like, their mom was the awful person. And that just blows my mind. I'm like, really? How can a mom be just awful to her kids? But I guess my brain is just so, I don't know, so set on how I was raised. You know, it was this and this, and it's really hard. I'm not, maybe people that had two incredible parents, they have no idea what it's like to have a bad parent, or an awful situation, or an extremely horrific situation, God forbid. But yeah, so let me know if that makes sense. And I hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully this wasn't too triggering or anything for people. And yeah, I will see everyone in the next video. All right, God bless.